Magicka is an isometric point-and-click adventure where you bend the elements by remembering more hotkeys than Blender, and can even play as a Redditor. The goal is to find the problem and kill it by any means necessary. On this crusade, we follow in the steps of the Shadow Wizards as they venture through the mysterious and magical land of Sweden, filled to the brim with goblins and flammable peasants. But as this is a primarily co-op game, I have dragged my friend Leo to play with me, which led us to our first boss fight, the Paradox Interactive servers. This is a 12-year-old indie game that is not that popular anymore, so the only servers left are powered by spinning hamster wheels that crash every 5 minutes. Every time we started the first chapter, we would get through a little bit of the tutorial, and then one of us would crash the desktop, forcing us to go through the entire process again. So after scouring the internet for potential fixes, I come across our holy savior. A Reddit post by Aggravating Sky with a fix for multiplayer. This absolute legend painstakingly went through the game's code and provided patches to a plethora of game-breaking bugs. Thanks, King. With the online finally working, we get into a lobby, pick our wizards, and start the game. After a Shrek-styled introduction to a story which is suspiciously similar to Lord of the Rings, we wake up in the middle of our lecture on post-it notes as Vlad, who is not a vampire, conscripts us into his personal militia to save the king from untold dangers. A quick jog later, and we are told that the others have already started a saving the world party without us, and we should hurry before they eat all the cheese. Upon arriving, we witness the saddest display of confetti known to man, only to see the significant lack of cheese. One of these cheese thieves then shows up and gives us an accelerated tour of the catacomb, beginning the tutorial. After falling down, we are immediately given swords, so our first reaction is to test their effectiveness on human flesh, which as it turns out is not very. Somehow, Leo returned, and we cut through this red tape to access the best mechanic in the game. Introducing Big Rock. Magicka's mechanics revolve around various combinations of elements, and Big Rock just happens to be the most cracked of them all, dealing enough to make anyone drop stone dead, which really is quite groundbreaking, and for this reason I am not taking it for granted. I've really hit rock bottom with these. We zoom through the tutorial, stopping to throw each other into the surprisingly deep pond of wine, and face the Watcher. As I charge up to become funny, Leo triggers a chandelier, and the boss dies instantly.
Thank you, Leo.
Upon exiting the Parisian metro, we find out the boss was a pet sent to find us, so in order to ensure there are no witnesses, we burn them all. I am going to name this Jazz Fusion. Now this is where the game really opens up, and so do the opportunities to mess with each other, like the Force, which is more effective on friends than on enemies. But what is possibly the most important part of Magicka is the magics, which are specific combinations of elements which create funny spells. These, however, are completely optional, and most times require a wiki to find, so we just stuck with a select few spells, two of which are vital: Revive and Haste. Revive just brings your teammate back from the pearly gates, and Haste speeds things up a little bit. So we go talk to a few old wizards, but I cannot contain the goofiness anymore, and one of them dies as he's delivering his line. The game, not knowing what to do about the missing wizard, shits itself, and we get soft-locked because, you know,
He's kinda dead.
the only thing we can do is restart the level, which puts us back at the start of the tutorial. The twist is that my running speed is now halved to the dramatic walk of an anime villain, which is as funny as it looks. Luckily, I found a fix, which consisted of human sacrifice. The goal of the game is simple: walk, kill bad guy, kill friends and civilians, and win. Here's a quick breakdown of all the elements. Fire burns things. Ice freezes them. Shield, well, shields you. Life heals things. Arcane kills them. Rock does the funny. Water makes things wet. And lightning makes those wet things fry. This includes teammates. Anything else is a combination of those elements which you need to memorize. Like Confuse Spell, which mixes all your friends' inputs for 30 seconds. I know you can't revive. Anyway, after drowning a couple times trying to get a bad spell, we start our first quest, which involves eliminating a few rats. After doing so, we get the achievement for completing all of the side quests. So after a brief execution, we move on, and get to the actual first boss fight, where Leo works out that shield blocks everything, including teammates. How funny, surely he will not use this for the remainder of the playthrough. Anyway, the boss anticlimactically dies after 2 boulders. This will be a reoccurring disappointment. With that, we finish the chapter. The second chapter starts with some completely intact skeletons that trigger the appearance of Michael Vlad, the not vampire, who is shocked by the goblin's capability for domestic warfare. Sadly, we cannot kill him because he is already dead inside. Finally, we can experience the Magicka gameplay loop. Here's the first fight. Here's the first 1000. Despite being incredibly repetitive, however, it does not get boring, especially with another person that could accidentally or intentionally kill you at all times. Shortly after burning all the peasants, we are introduced to the most fun enemy in the game, the bomb carrier. Killing this guy is a blast. Hey, I just wanted to say that you're the bomb. You could say that he has a bit of an explosive personality. We move on to meet Holdor in the woods, who tells us about his wife, who is currently devouring a dead moose. But when she turns around, we are quick to realize that that is in fact not his wife, but an ogre. This means we must perform our traditional stoning, after which we go on a small round of extermination until we reach Vlad in the lair of Jormungandr, who apparently used to live here long ago, but was never seen again. He's sitting right there, isn't he? Vlad, the coward that he is, vanishes himself out of the situation faster than a French person in a conversation about Algeria. The boss has a classic wait for him to do something fight, where we both sit with charged rock spells waiting for him to present. We make quick work of him and finish chapter 2. Chapter 3 begins with an encounter with Vlad, the man with almost vampiric powers, who was simply giving that dead man a hug. We must help a town out in the hopes of getting a ride to the king's castle, though it seems everyone here is an Oblivion NPC. After sending hundreds of goblins to the past tense, we board the Flying Dutchman to make our way to this town, and in the process kill another 100 goobers. While flying, Vlad suddenly remembers that he forgot to subscribe, so he jumps ship to immediately go do it. Without a pilot, however, the boat crash lands us into chapter 4. By some stroke of luck called plot armor, we land on the path, completely unscathed. Following that, I discovered that conjuring electricity is bad when you're wet, and that the combo of water, ice, and rock kills just about anything. So of course we abused the hell out of it. Finally arrived at the village, we cleared it of the beasts, and saved the people. As a reward for our bravery, they offer us a trip to the main city, and an M60. Alright fellas, I am now switched from casting spells to casting lead into the head of every living thing I see. We finally walk into the city of Chicago, and there is no better place than here to dispense all of this freedom. Second Amendment! I can feel the patriotism coursing through my veins. Of course, all this god-blessed freedom is tiring, so we make our sacrifices and go to sleep. Oh shit, it's the feds. Wait, no, never mind, it's just a full-scale invasion. Meaning it is time for some diplomatic procedures with the enemy. You know, I've spent a long time thinking about my violent past, and I think it's time I think about my violent future. After breaking the Geneva Convention multiple times, and developing a non-functional speedrunning technique, we finally reach the castle in which the king is held hostage, and we have to hold off the hordes until the explosives go off. Or, you know, just set them off ourselves. Inside, we find the Shadow Wizard Money Gang about to administer the king with a single shot of Fauci Ouchie. So to stop them, we have to defeat the wizards that actually know how to play the game. The needle keeps getting closer, until I realize that wood is real. So, the bad wizard goes into beast mode, Leo dies of cringe, and we kill him. Cue the cutscene, and somehow Palpatine returns. The whole level finishes with the king planning a counterattack on the Great Khan, so our job as a private government militia is not over yet. Chapter 5, Havinder Strikes Back, has us watch the king we just saved plot to use us as tools in his takeover, which is honestly uncalled for because we've only been following orders. Next to him is a soldier placed on the ledge of a very convenient hole, so might as well. Vlad gives us our new task, which is to confront Genghis Khan and diplomatically reason with him. So we set off. It's at this point that we discover the power of the Lightning Bolt, a complex spell that strikes the tallest living thing, and kills it. This spell will absolutely not backfire more times than it works. We get to a large area with the demo man from TF2, fight off the entire city of Birmingham, and get backup from the king who conveniently is showing up after we killed everyone. With that, we march into Khan's throne room to peacefully find a resolution to the conflict. However, the king and all his men also forgot to subscribe, so it's all up to us to work out a peace agreement. Oh wait, shit, his weakness was blood loss? Damn it, no, I thought that rock would appease him or something. What have we done? Fuck. He goes on a long monologue about being a pawn of Grimnir, the Shadow Wizard, which is absolutely unacceptable because we are the only ones who can be Shadow Wizards. So we need to go and give him a cease and desist letter to put an end to his mischievous copyright infringement. Before the chapter ends, I unintentionally say a questionable thing. Vlad is such a baddie. And Vlad sends us off to see Grimwald. We have now arrived at the Act 2 of the game. There are 6 chapters left, and each one is less fun than the previous as we plunge further and further into the esoteric cacophony which is northern Finland. So I'm going to go through this section much faster. The new enemy now is the Bastard. In between long thinking times, he switches between John Cena and slow projectile. And now it's time to fight them another 100 times on tiny gravity-defying steroids. We are now in my dimension, where the only way to travel is using Escher's relativity stairs. So if I'm honest, a pretty shit dimension. An especially effective one, however, for Leo's saxophone weapon, which he did not hesitate to use. We reach Grilmnir, and Vlad tells us that we must reason with him so we can re-establish world peace. So of course we had a mind battle with him, and then try to kill him with rocks. Emphasis on try because this took a few attempts. However, right before we can deliver the finishing blow, Vlad transports us to the Shadow Realm. Huh. This place looks familiar. We have been sent back to March 20th, 2023 to stop me from ever coming up with the FPS chess video. Oh, and also find a dude called Falafel that will give us a spell to free Grimace, as he is possessed by a demon called Asature. All of this sucks, but at least we learn how to teleport away from our problems and towards some familiar looking wizards. We reach the same camp as before, but the road is sealed off and cannot be reopened. Despite being able to, you know, teleport, we must go down the road to the abandoned mine. We stop at a bridge, and future Vold appears once again to tell us of the dangers ahead, as if we weren't expecting it after the past 4 hours of massacre. In a small hidden cave, we find a secret magic spell called Thunderstorm, which once summoned, will cover everyone in water and strike things at random, for which we should have probably taken some precautions. In order to make it usable, we need to just get some lightning shields and wait. We cross yet another bridge with waves of enemies that take us a good 10 minutes to get through, and in a vain attempt to speedrun, I do this. No! No! So we beat the whole thing again. After that, we fall into the void looking for a secret in a cave and into the mines. 20 minutes of painful gameplay later, and we're fighting the final boss of the chapter the only way we know how, which we had to retry so many times due to random crashes. But finally, we get to the end of the level. Chapter 9 starts us off with Golem, and turns into a Halloween party with all our favorite creatures. Zombies, skeletons, wise mystical trees, and other phantasmagorical creatures. Our goal, however, is to use convincing politics to sway the unnamed Count's village, so he can take us to Fafnir. We obviously use intimidation, but Vold doesn't like that, so he throws us back in time until we get it right. Turns out politics are hard and actually require people to like you, which we now know involves bribery. We are finally inside, and future Vlad asks us to just explain the situation and get on our merry way. We go in and meet the Count in person.
You? How did you get into my house? You couldn't be content with just following orders. I mean, saving the world? No! You had to come here to gloat over this embarrassment of a castle. I didn't know about this swamp. That Craigslist ad for an air fryer didn't mention anything about a complimentary castle with 200 years of unpaid property tax. No matter, I will destroy you before you can expose me online for my faulty politics and my £60,000 mortgage. But before you die, I will tell you a secret. Something so unbelievable that your entire grasp on reality will be forever shattered. I am a vampire. But enough talk. Have at you.
So we finally fight a past version of the vampire that has been egging us on to commit war crimes. Forget diplomatic reasoning, we finally get to fight the one person we have tried to kill for the past 9 chapters. So through traditional techniques passed down by many generations past, we piss him off enough that he decides to move us into a more fitting place, which is chapter 10. We find ourselves in the nothing dimension, where we must track down Death and have a quick chat about reinstating our corporeal existence and whatnot. For that, we need to go through the Bone Zone, actually having to find each one's weakness based off of his color, which requires brain power that melted away several hours ago. We reach Death at last, and Vlad once again implores us to just talk things out. So obviously our new objective is to kill Death. His attacks are slow, but instant, and we must heal him to, kill him? The entire fight makes no sense, but we still manage, and even get his phone number, just in case we feel a little lonely. We are now in the lost region of Svalbard, and Vlad scolded us for our lack of social skills, because apparently talking would have been enough, but hey, at least we have a spell to summon him at any time now. More on that later. On our quest to track down Falafel, we witness a soldier absolutely killing it on the track, even jumping off that missing texture, and then getting Lion King to death by a Yeti. You could say that the experience is quite chilling. We promptly work out the quite complicated summon death spell, which makes everything dark as death approaches a random living entity and instantly killing it, making it a double-edged scythe, since that includes us. We evade a few more group hugs and enter the dragon's den. The castle in question includes a main hall, multiple small corridors full of enemies, a lava maze so big we just ran past everyone instead of fighting, and finally the entrance to where Fafnir resides. Vlad once again begs us to just talk, though if he was so inclined towards diplomacy, why isn't he doing the talking? Is he stupid or something? Violence is never the answer. It's a question, and the answer is yes. This is a very difficult boss, as he has many different phases and strong attacks. Summon death, get him to target Leo, and instantly kill the boss through AoE of the scythe. It almost feels unfair. Regardless, we get the spell and go back to the future to fight Ass-Tube. It's time to finally fight the root of all evil, but first we must defeat Vlad again, for some reason. Go-Go Gadget, broken mechanic. He runs away, only to reveal he was stopping us from running into ourselves, which is starting to hurt my brain on a personal level. Grimoire, who has only seen us leave and walk back, starts trying to kill us again, but we have an ace up our sleeve now. However, we still need to use a really complicated spell to get him out of the ethereal realm that I ended up having to read out to Leo. Death, steam, electricity, shield, death. Asshat, now angered, decides to fucking annihilate us by burning my monitor's pixels. Sadly, the Reaper does not work in this fight, and trust me, we tried. So we fell back on the only other easy spell. Operation Dwayne The Rock Johnson is a go. So, that's it. That's Magicka. Of course I managed to ruin the credits by summoning a vortex, blending and killing us both, but the game stopped caring, so it ends there. Magicka is a phenomenally stupid game that is a blast to play. If you put aside the frequent crashes expected from a game with no more updates, it is truly a great experience. Just know that there is a Magicka 2, and I am very much interested in making such a sequel. With that, hope you enjoyed.